Hello, everybody! I'm the Godzilla reader, and have you ever thought that Godzilla never really had a horror story for himself? Now, granted, you could say that the original movie was a horror movie because, well, it was very dark and disturbing. Although, I don't really see it as a horror movie, if I'm being honest. Or I guess you could say that Shin Godzilla, in particular his design, is scary and what he does is also scary. Well, I will have to disagree because the movie doesn't even go that dark, so... nah. If anything, the closest thing we got to a Godzilla horror story is the infamous NES Godzilla creepypasta. Although I'm not going to talk about that because, well, it's already been talked by a lot of people, and if I were to make a video about it, it's going to be a repeat of what other people said, which is basically saying that this creepypasta is the best creepypasta to be ever written. So, yeah. Today, I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people don't seem to talk about. And this, my friends, is by far a great return for a horror story starting Godzilla. The Suitmation Trials is a channel that was created the 30th of April of 2020, and it's basically an analog horror series starring Godzilla. Now, as I'm recording this right now, there only has been 3 videos regarding this series. No 4th or 5th, just 3 in the moment. And it mostly has to do with the fact that the creator of this series really didn't have a lot of time to continue on it, since he was quite busy, which is alright. However, despite only having 3 videos on the channel, we can still analyze them and understand what's going on. After all, one of the main themes of analog horror is mystery. And this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to analyze all 3 videos and understand the mystery of the Suitmation Trials. So starting with the first video of the series, instance number 1. The video begins with text coming from the protagonist, which we don't know the name yet, who basically explains how he wanted to get back to the Godzilla franchise by basically doing a marathon through every Godzilla movie. He proceeds to go to Godzilla raids again. However, in the moment where he sees the second confrontation between Godzilla and Anguirus, he notices something off about it. And then this happens. Okay, so from what we saw right now is that the scene seemed to play normal until we get to the part where Anguirus started to roar and the VHS ends up glitching and the scene changes, showing now this: Godzilla staring right at the screen with those very unsettling eyes. And what's even more unsettling is the fact that Godzilla breaks the fourth wall and interacts with the protagonist. And what he says, or even what he plans to do, clearly isn't good at all. Then, the screen proceeds to zoom in Godzilla's eyes, and after he said that one final sentence, everything goes to black. However, not before we see a glimpse of Anguirus, which definitely means that something suspicious is going around here. Once this strange phenomenon is over, the protagonist once again speaks to us, and this time he is going to investigate on what's going on with the tape, because clearly something odd is happening right now. Now we move on to the second video of the series, instance number 2. This time the protagonist tells us that he popped back the cassette on to see if he would get a new scene, and indeed he did get a new scene. At the same time, he explains how the tapes that he got from his family a long time ago never really had this type of issue when he watched them, which is very understandable. I mean, it is very odd that after rewatching some old tapes, you see stuff that you never saw as a child, which is very, very weird. However, as we move on to the new scene that he got, it seems that it reveals something quite dark, and something that maybe was hidden from Toho a long time ago. Okay, so just like last time, it seems that the scene played normal at first, basically showing Godzilla attacking Anguirus and then going to kill him. However, in that same moment that Godzilla is killing Anguirus, the VHS once again glitches and text appears. It appears fast, but it can be slowed down, and what we read is clearly disturbing. Then, we move on to Godzilla, who is once again staring at the screen with even more disturbing eyes. He reveals what he did, and then proceeds to say something that is unnerving. And it is this line: "This scream won't hold me forever." You know that, right? At the same time, there is music that is playing in the background, although I have no idea what it is. But that's not important. What's important is the clue that was revealed in this scene. It's clear that something happened a long time ago. Now we move on to the third, and so far in the moment, last video of the series. Instance number 3. This time, the protagonist is intrigued, to the point that he's shocked, or even mind-blown that he cannot even describe what he saw. And what we see next confirms the clue that we saw in the second video. Okay, so on an interesting note, rather than having a scene from Raids Again, instead we have a picture of Terror of Mechagodzilla, which is the ending where Godzilla goes to the sea. And while we're looking at the picture, text appears, and it basically describes how Godzilla was feeling when he first went to the pool, that water tank that most of the Godzilla water scene were filmed. However, there is more to this, because inside that water tank is where the body of Anguirus was hidden. And maybe Anguirus wasn't the only one to be killed. Then the video ends with the protagonist making a good point. If Toho was the cause of those accidents, then it would be public. And yet it wasn't. Toho kept it a secret for a long time. And this is where we end for now the Suitmation trials. Now, I believe we all know what's happening in the story, especially after watching Instance 2 and 3. A murder happened, which resulted in the death of the actor who played Anguirus. However, the question is, how did it happen? There has been numerous theories about this. One saying that the actor who played Godzilla was indeed a murderer. The other saying that perhaps the suits are alive. However, there is one that for me seems to make more sense. This is a Roger Rabbit situation. Let me explain. In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the movie takes place in a scenario where humans and animated cartoons live alongside each other. This could be a similar situation. Godzilla and Anguirus are actually living beings and are basically playing a role in the movie. However, it seems that the Godzilla may have taken it too far, to the point that after killing Anguirus, he most likely liked it. And to hide his evidence of murder, he proceeded to hide it in the pool. That's kinda dark if you ask me, and even downright creepy. And after killing Anguirus, it's possible that Godzilla may have went after the people who were part of the behind the scenes of Raids Again. Now, I know that this is a theory, but it's a theory that is most likely possible, that Godzilla and Anguirus are actually living creatures that live alongside humans. And honestly, I think that this is the most possible outcome of this story. Why? Well, let's just say that the creator posted an image on the community post of his channel, and the image itself is... wow. Well, it seems that Godzilla is definitely hunting down the protagonist. Now this could mean two things. One, that Godzilla was perhaps indeed in the tapes, which I guess could also answer how he's able to communicate with the protagonist. Or it's maybe just a little teaser of basically what he's going to do, which is literally stalk the protagonist's house. Who knows what it could be, but we have to wait until we get an instance number 4. Now, I know it sounded ridiculous when I said that Godzilla was in the tapes. Maybe he's not actually in the tapes and maybe he's actually in the television. How? I have no idea. Maybe he's a ghost? A demon? Or maybe he breaks all logic like a cartoon character? I have no idea. But it's clear that this Godzilla is probably the most terrifying version out of the entire fan-made versions of the King of the Monsters. Okay, now we're basically at the conclusion, so what do I think of the Suitmation trials? Well, this is by far one of the best horror series starting Godzilla. I know there's only 3 videos at the moment, but it's amazing how the creator was able to do something actually scary with a Godzilla movie. Especially with the rules of analog horror and how it makes it so freaking frightening. I think the use of the Raids Against suit was definitely a good choice for Godzilla, especially with those really creepy eyes that he does when he stares at you. I also really like the mystery that it had, which it makes sense since it's analog horror, and one of the main themes of analog horror is mystery. And this mystery right there is... ooh. Honestly, I would put this series on the same level as the NES Creepypasta. Both are capable of making a good horror story starting Godzilla, which I feel like is what Godzilla kinda misses. I mean, sure, the Godzilla franchise had a lot of very dark scenes, but there was never a moment where something regarding Godzilla frightened you, or even made your spines chill. And that's basically all I have to say about this series, and I can't wait to see more. So yeah, let's hope that the protagonist survives, because I don't think Godzilla will let him go. So yeah, I'm the Godzilla Reader, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!
Happy Halloween.